What up, y'all? Corey here, and in this episode, we are going to be talking about Shit, mother fucking damn it. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. What up, y'all? Corey here. On this episode, we're going to be talking about community building. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but it seems like the new frontier. There seems to be communities popping up everywhere. And I will say, not to get political or weird or religious on you guys, but it does seem ironic that with the decline in organized religion has been a massive increase in all these little niche communities popping up. I actually recently joined one myself. It's called the Creator MBA, and it's really just for basically creators that want to build a business around their content. And it's been cool. It's built on a platform called Circle, and it's been fun to have more intimate conversations and to get some more insider knowledge on certain topics. I actually have a friend of mine here in Austin as well. I recently went to his event for South by Southwest that was focused on health. He is essentially a health expert, and he creates a lot of content around health, and he has an own community of himself where people, again, on Circle can join it and be a part of it and get knowledge on certain health topics. They can have conversations and they can network with other people that are interested on those topics. And the third one I'll talk about is, if you haven't checked out the recent podcast episode, the last one that was just recorded was with my friend Rachel Hagg, who built essentially a female entrepreneurship community. It started out as just coffee meetings, and it is now built to, I think they have over 10,000 members across the country. And it's become so strong that people literally fly in for their quarterly events into Austin, Texas, just to attend it and to be a part of it. And so my point in talking about all this is that I honestly believe that business is no longer about just products and services. I honestly believe it's about being a part of something and being a part of community. And there's really two approaches, right? Is you can build a community and then offer them a product or service, or you can have a product or service and then essentially build a community around it, which strengthens it. And so what we're going to talk about on today's episode are the three things that are essential for building a community. Let's go. The first one I want to talk about is understanding who the hell it is for. I recently hosted a private dinner for health entrepreneurs here in Austin, Texas, and one of the attendees was the owner of a restaurant chain called Ziki. The focus of Ziki is no seed oils, and they are very clear and they are very blatant about talking about that. And anybody who is not interested in that topic honestly doesn't go there, doesn't care about it, and probably doesn't use a restaurant. Actually, probably none of that's true. They probably still go there and love the food. The food is actually super good. But my point is that they have very clearly put a stake in the sand, and they say, we do not use seed oils, and people gravitate towards that. And the fact that they know so clearly who it is that they're talking about is that they use that in all their brandings, from their billboards to their signs outside of their restaurants to how they use social media, is they're saying those phrases. They're saying no seed oils are bad, seed oils are killing you. I don't know if they actually say that. But my point is they very clearly know who they are talking about. So step number one to building a strong community is, who is it for? And what do you stand for? And what do you stand against? The second part to building a strong community is understanding what problem you help them solve. It's not about what you do, what's your product, or what your service is. It's about very clearly defining how you're helping them solve that problem. As somebody who used to work as a healthcare professional, I used to tell people that I'm an occupational therapist and I have so-and-so degree and so-and-so certifications. When in reality, nobody cared about any of those things. Actually, the only people that even cared about any of those were my employees or my coworkers, and that's not really who I was selling to. Although it was interesting and fun to talk about this cool course or this cool class or this cool degree that I had, my customers didn't really care, only my coworkers did. And so what's my point in all this? My point is that people are infatuated with their own problems, and the more you can help them solve that problem, the stronger your community becomes. And part of this is just really listening, paying attention, having conversations. This is honestly one of the benefits and the flywheel effect of having a community, is that by engaging and talking to people, that you really understand their challenges and their pain points, and then you can help them solve them. This is something I recently did with my own communities. I sent out surveys and I ask them questions, and I'm constantly putting at the end of emails is, how can this be better? How can this improve? I just recently hosted actually a private event through another cold plunge company here, and that was one of the things that I included in the email was like, what did you like? What did you not like? What would you keep the same? What would you make different? And I got a few responses, and it helps me create a better community down the road. And so that's the second piece to a community, is understanding what problems you're helping them solve by engaging with them and then delivering on those things. And the third and final piece to this puzzle to building a strong community is answering a very important question. Why are we gathered here today? I believe that most communities skip this step, and it's one of the reasons that they struggle and they flounder, is that they don't have a clear purpose or why as to what the hell is the reason for us to come together. I honestly made that mistake myself when I first tried to build a community when I was living in Minnesota, and it was focused around this idea of just networking for healthpreneurs. Although networking is cool, that's really not a really great reason to come together. Like, people could do that online through DMs or just online communities or conversations. Not that you can't build a community online, but my point is, it really wasn't a strong enough why as to why we're gathering here today. I would also say too, don't get intimidated by this idea of why. It doesn't have to be grandiose. It doesn't have to change the world. It doesn't have to be we want to go to Mars or we want to be an intergalactic species. Although those are cool things, those honestly aren't necessary for having a strong why. Just takes, for example, what my community is built around now. My community is really built around the why of helping health entrepreneurs to build a business that fits their lifestyle. And people seem to gravitate towards that. And so what's my point in all this? My point is that people don't need another networking event. They need a community. They need a reason to come together. And so if you can provide that for them and give them a very clear why as to why you're coming together, that will strengthen your community for the long term. And so just as a final recap, the 3 things you need to build a strong community is number 1 is know who the hell you serve and who the hell you don't serve. Number 2 is getting clear on what problems you're helping them solve. And number 3 is answering the question is, why are we gathering here today? And just like I said in the beginning of this episode, if you check out my last podcast episode with Rachel Haig, we actually do quite a bit more of a deep dive into this topic of community building, which I think you will really enjoy. I hope you check it out. I hope this episode was helpful, and I love you guys. Peace. Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show, and if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.